Well, hey, everybody, it's me, Kevin Stevenson, and you joining me again, of course, on I Don't Care with me, Kevin Stevenson. Glad to have you. Just wanted to remind you, every now and then I get people ask me, why is it called I Don't Care with Kevin? And they say, just, it's kind of flippant. I said, well, okay, here's the deal. I've been in healthcare for 36 years, been a hospital exec for a number of those years. But fortunately for our patients, I don't provide any care because I honestly, I never wanted to be a physician. I've told you time and time again in the past, I don't like pain, needles, or blood. And so that probably wouldn't have worked out very well for me in medical school. But the business side of healthcare, I really enjoy. And I really enjoy, certainly being called to help people, oftentimes at their worst time. And so it came about. My old producer of the podcast back early on said, hey, Kevin, I've got a name for the show. We said, okay, what do you think? He goes, well, you don't provide patient care, right? I said, of course not. You know that. He goes, how about I don't care? And I said, perfect. So that's where I don't care came from. It's not that I don't care about you, my audience. It's not about that I don't care about my patients. It's just that I just don't care. Now you get it. Okay, just a reminder. Need to bring that up. So today, I have a guest on, and I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to take a little detour. We're going to talk college football. And I think I found my match in somebody who can talk as much as I do. Today's guest is Carl Schuessler. He's the managing principal of Mitigate Partners. He's wearing red because he's a Georgia Bulldog, too. And we did a little pre-call. Every now and then I'll do those. And Carl and I, we really both relish the fact, and most of my audience, I'm a Baylor Bear, and so sick 'em Bears. And, but Carl and I were both reveling in the fact that his alma mater, the Georgia Bulldogs, beat the hated University of Texas Longhorns. And so, Carl, number one, welcome to I Don't Care. Number two, thank you for the beatdown last weekend.
Well, thanks for having me, Kevin. And don't throw me in that briar patch on college football. So we might not get out of it for a while. But yeah,
that's right.
Very enjoyable. The first game was a lot better to walk into their backyard and whip them like a bunch of mules. That was a lot of fun. The last game was a lot closer on Saturday, but it was for a lot more important title, the SEC champion. So it's a big deal down south where I am from. And I think beating the number 1 and 2 team and being Texas both times was fun. And somebody goes, I don't want to play somebody twice, right? They always say that. Well, I'm saying let's play them 3 times. Let's play one more time. And that nothing can get any better than to take them to the woodshed one more time. But we'll see if we get there. We're not that great. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, Carl, we talked a little bit about, my Baylor Bears a few years ago got to experience a beatdown of our own by the Georgia Bulldogs in the Sugar Bowl. And I'll tell you the funniest thing, my tickets for that game were in the end zone. And so I'm looking up the field, I'm watching the game, and we've got the ball and our offense is coming at us. And I look up there, and this was the first time Georgia sets their defense. And I'm like, where's our offense? Because I couldn't see him, because every one of your guys looked like they were like 6'6", weighed about 350 pounds. And we were a little cocky going into the game, because we heard, hey, there's like 15 or 16 Georgia players that opted out because they're going to get drafted. And I'm thinking, we might have a chance. And then some Georgia fans, we were talking about it, and they said, you do know that our second and third string are 5 stars too. I said, I forgot about that. And so, but I learned about that pretty quickly at the end of that game. So,
and that was it too, Kevin. After that, and then Texas did beat us in that Sugar Bowl one time. And that was when Kirby said, we're not doing this anymore. You're either in or you're out. And if you don't, we're not doing all this. And what I thought was so cool about culture, and I'm sure we're talking about a lot of stuff, culture and what Kirby's built at Georgia, is like the Florida State game, 12 of their kids sacked because, they didn't win. They didn't get to play a national title. We can argue back and forth on that. But this year was a whole different story for them. But the fact of the matter was, all our guys there were 2 or 3 first rounders, they all played. Yeah. They didn't sit out when they could have. I mean, the
Sure.
game didn't mean anything because, it meant something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think the culture is important, and that was really the difference. And I'm seeing more and more of these kids sticking out. Ole Miss has got a bunch of kids saying they're going to play, which is
Yeah.
good. I mean, this whole thing is just crazy. And I was a big fan of RG3, by the way.
Oh, thank you. He's a good guy, good kid, great ambassador for the Bears. So, well, Carl, tell my audience a little bit about Mitigate Partners and how it came about.
All right, I'll do my best. How much time do I have? I'll go. I'll keep it tight. Mitigate Partners was formed. I think it was about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and it really came about. I was speaking around the country at different events, healthcare related events, and we were doing a lot of things. People said, "I really like what you're about, what you're talking about." And so, a friend of mine in Valdosta, Georgia, which is South Georgia, who was kind of working with us, he was an Allstate agent. His name's Barry Broom, but he came up with the idea: mitigate risk. Why not call it Mitigate Partners? And it's an independent alliance of about right now currently 27 benefit advisors, stretching from up in the Massachusetts area all the way to Nevada. And we felt that why not collaborate versus compete and try to beat each other's brains in? It's a competitive business. And we kind of said, well, 1 + 1 = 20, so we work together on a lot of stuff and band together a lot, and we share ideas. And I think when you're, the old proverbs, iron sharpens iron, I think you're better. And for example, I was working with we were trying to work with Texas Public Policy Foundation in Austin. And I was brought in and I said, hey, I got 2 mitigators in Austin, and they knew some things in their market I didn't know. So it's pretty valuable when you can do that. And we wanted to marry it with local management, meaning people that are boots on the ground. So we cover a decent amount of ground. We got a lot of people in the South, but that's what it is. It's just a group of independent alliance of benefit advisors who are totally independent, fiercely independent. I wish they listened to me, but they don't.
Yeah. Well, and that's an area that I don't know a great deal about, but I do know that I spent some time on a school board up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we every year we dealt with significant cost increases for our employee benefits, and I mean, limited resources. You're dependent upon the state, you're dependent upon the taxpayer, and so you try to be good stewards of that. And so, talk to me in the audience a little bit about what are the things that the main things that you're trying to do to reduce those costs, and how do you go about that? How do you target that with your individual client or your group of clients? That's just something that I think you've got a great opportunity to really help folks.
Okay. Well, no, I'll do my best, Kevin. I think the easiest way to sum this up is several things. So just quickly, we identified what we call the 6 deficiencies of legacy healthcare insurance. And I'll call them out real quick, assuming I can remember. I don't remember what I had for lunch, but I'm going to do my best. But number one, deficiency number one was embedded conflicts of interest, i.e. the cartel. And we can talk about what that means. I'm not going to go into all the detail on that right now. But number 2 was a lack of quality and pricing transparency. Where in the world do we go and shop for anything that we don't know the price until 30 days later? We would never buy a car without knowing the price. Yet we go into facilities and things across the country not knowing what it costs. So that's number 2. Number 3 was what we deemed medical billing errors. A lot of back in 2015, when our country decided to go from ICD-9s to ICD-10 codes, pretty tough on hospitals and so forth. So a lot of the billing that comes out, around close to 99% of those bills could be wrong and inaccurate. And it's because it's so complex. And so the medical billing errors was number 3. Number 4 was the traditional PPO discount game. That's basically the insurance companies getting together with facilities, hospitals, doctors saying, hey, you bill out at X and we'll get a discount off of it. You'll like a hero and we'll like a hero. So that's a traditional PPO discount game. Number 5 was the pharmaceutical shell game. And you ever seen that guy that moves the shells around it?
Yeah.
100% of that. And then lastly, number 6 was lack of information and data. You can't, if you can't manage that, which you can't measure. And getting data from insurance companies and other people, it's your data, but you can't get it. It's very difficult. So out of all of that, what we decided, we kind of coined a few phrases. We call that kind of insurance insurer-built healthcare, what I just described.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can fix those 6 deficiencies, we turn them into the 6 opportunities in healthcare. And that's where we came up with this term called employer-built healthcare. Okay. Built for the employer, not built for the insurance company. Also, I would take that and say Wall Street built healthcare versus Main Street built healthcare. And our goal was to get the money off Wall Street and get it out back on Main Street. And we do it by disintermediating the system and eliminating a lot of the middles and the middleman. And that's what we did. And so we also, with Employer Built, were able to, we call it actively managed plans because you can actively manage it. We built the Fair Cost Health Plan, and people use other plans where they can manage their risk instead of relying on the insurance company who is supporting their stock price on Wall Street, to do that. And again, let me be clear. They're not doing anything wrong, Kevin. They're not going fiduciary responsibility to the stockholder.
Yeah.
And, shame on me for not buying stock in all those insurance companies who's, were up 1,000% since March 2010 when Obamacare, Affordable Care Act came into existence. I mean, they have knocked it out of the park. But unfortunately, there's an employer on the other side of that is getting killed. These employees that work there are basically functionally uninsured, meaning their deductibles and their out-of-pockets are so high, they're scared to death to use their health insurance. So they're functionally uninsured even though they got insurance.
Okay. So, talk to me a little bit. I mean, you were sharing before we started recording. Talk to me a little bit about how, you worked with, there was one large school district down in Florida that you were able to save quite a bit of money for. I mean, I'd love, for you to share that story because it was again, it goes back to, being a good fiduciary, having a good responsibility over that school district, but also saving a lot of people a lot of money.
Right. And you mentioned you were involved with school board. I mean, how highly political, bureaucratic those organizations are. It was a great learning experience. I stepped away in April of 21. We got hired in April of 19. But the story kind of goes, we met before the group ever did what's called an invitation to negotiate. Many people on their listening might think of an RFP. It's similar, but it's an invitation to negotiate. And we had laid some groundwork and met with them before we ever answered it. Because if we answered it, they're going to hire the people that got the most windows. By the way, I got 6 windows in my office, so I feel like I'm doing pretty good. But most people, they're going to hire the big boys, the Aon, the Gallagher, the Towers Watson, all the big ones, Marsh, Mercer. And that's what they generally do. But because they knew a little bit about us, we were able to answer and have an opportunity to win and partner with another group as well. And so we won. And I think it was in August of 20, we had fired Cigna the spring of 20. In August of 20, they put in it was our Fair Cost Health Plan. They don't call it that, but that's what they put in. And they basically fired Cigna. Cigna proceeded to sue them, and then they sued Cigna, and some things have just been settled, I think. But that's public record. I'm not going to comment on it. But anyway, long story short, by eliminating Cigna, by eliminating their PBM, which they own, they were allowed to merge. The DOJ allowed them to merge with Express Scripts. They went from 65 in the Fortune 500 to number 13. They jumped 52 spots.
Yeah.
They were 65. They jumped 50. DOJ didn't allow it. Did you just read Kroger and Albertson are not going to be able to merge?
Yeah.
Saying it's monopolistic or what? So anyway, we could go on and on about vertical integration. Anyway, long story short, by kicking all those to the curb, and that did draw the ire of the CEO, got on a plane and flew down and tried to get the school district to change their mind. CEO.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pretty interesting story. So when people challenge me on my cartel word, I tell them they better pack a breakfast, lunch, and dinner and come on down. I got a few stories for them because they don't really understand what's going on behind the scenes. But anyway, long story short, by doing that in 5 short years, the school district saved about $65 million already. And the teachers have saved around $15 million out of pocket.
Well, that's great.
Significant, because when we looked at the 10-year history, Kevin, of looking at Cigna stock price and the premiums, when you added it all up over a 10-year period, they hadn't had a raise in 10 years.
Yeah.
Because their insurance ate it up. And it's been quite significant. Think about the investment in education, art programs, music programs, all that stuff in a fairly, more poorer county down there. But, and so that was one. And we've done a lot with we work with a hospital. I don't know if you knew that, the Southern Memorial Hospital down in Arcadia, Florida. I didn't know what the heck that was until Dr. Lee Groves, the direct primary care doctor, brought us on board, and they saved $1.2 million or 54% the first year. And they were with one of the cartel members. Since we're, one-on-one, I can usually say it, but this is going to be public. I'll leave it out. But got rid of them, and 157 employees, and saved $1.2 million or 54% in 1 year.
Wow.
1 year by getting rid of those middlemen.
That's incredible.
But we built plans where people can get care, remove barriers to care. So they're encouraged to take care of themselves, not worried what it's going to cost. And if you hear and watch any of those videos that patient rights advocate Cynthia Fisher and her team shot that were showed to President Trump that got hospital price and transparency passed in 21, that was the videos of our clients and others. They heard what we were doing. I'm glad to share those and put them in later to you. But that was what was amazing. One of the employees said, for the hospital said, before I was worried, I got a deductible, I got this out of pocket, I got this co-insurance. I can't afford to take care of myself. This year, I got diagnosed with cancer, and I took care of everything, and it cost me absolutely nothing. And the hospital saved $1.2 million or 54% in 1 year.
Wow, that's incredible. Hey, so the person that kind of put us together, Dr. Kristen Dickerson, was a guest of mine probably about a year ago now with Green Imaging down in Houston. Let's talk a little bit about how you're basically working to unbundle healthcare, and then really trying to place people in different settings where they can get high quality care, but it's also at a lower price. Yeah. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. I think I will. And Dr. Dickerson is one of my favorites. And Dr. Dickerson, if you're listening, go Dogs. Anyway.
Hey, she's a bear. Stop that.
No, I know, but she's a Longhorn too. Trust me.
Yeah, I know.
Go look. But anyway, I think it's important, Kevin. One of the things I didn't say about employer built versus insurer built. When you're doing an insurer built plan, the patient is out here and a target for profit by all the cartel members. And when you do employer built, we build a patient centric plan and architect a plan that works for the employer and bring the patient back in the middle. So the reason I wanted to say that is healthcare is siloed off in so many places. Healthcare is not national. It's not regional. It's local. And we had to relocalize it. Like I said, get it off Wells Street, bring it back to Main Street. And that's what we did. So we were frustrated with the system when we were trying to find a way to build the right plan. We went out and just started talking to a lot of cost containment solutions that would help save employers money. And we talk about our health plan like a house. Think about a house full of bricks. Each brick is a cost containment solution, and we seamlessly integrated 25 or so solutions in the Fair Cost Health Plan and brought them together and have a platform where all of them communicate with the employer and take care of the member. And I could tell you stories that will make you cry, especially during COVID, of what we were able to do for employees. That is just unbelievable. I'm just very blessed to have all these great partners. Dr. Dickerson being one of them. She saved the school district. I believe the first year was like 1.2 million. I think next year 2.2. She saved them. It's in the books about what she saved. and so forth. So she's a great partner. And again, that's eliminating another middle and finding a good solution. And it's been great.
That's great. Well, the fact that you have the opportunity to be able to do that and build something that is, as you said, patient centric, and that's whenever I first got into this business, that I wanted to make sure, that at the center of everything that I did and whatever organization I was a part of, that we were patient centric. And sometimes that gets a little hard whenever you get into large organizations, but you know, we've got to keep the patient at the forefront of everything that we do. And I'm proud to say, where I am now, that's what we try to do each and every day. But so in the last few minutes that we have, Carl, talk to my audience a little bit about how, give them maybe 2 or 3 tips. You're talking to a bunch of employers out there. Give them 2 or 3 tips that, whether it's a solution that you can help them provide, or maybe give them an idea of something to look for when they are seeking benefit solutions.
Yeah. I think the first thing is they need to find a benefits advisor. A lot of people refer to people like myself as brokers. And one of our mitigators in Austin, Texas, always coined the phrase, a broker makes you broker. And I'm like, man, that's genius. And so we would start by talking to people, well, your broker's making you broker. You need a benefits advisor, someone that's working for you. And we are paid directly by our clients, generally not by insurance companies. Mm-hmm. And because again, you can't bill what we bill. If insurance company insure build healthcare, it doesn't work the way it does. You're not going to save the kind of dollars we save and give the better care. Maybe sometimes get rid of prior authorizations or pre-certs. I know you guys love that at your place. I know that doesn't cost y'all any money at all during the year.
No,
don't waste any money or time. They're there to protect the plan, sponsor the employer, but there's a lot of them where we custom build plans or we waive them at certain places that do great procedures and are known for it. We don't have things pre-certed because it's not necessary on a lot of them. Anyway, so find a good benefits advisor first and ask questions of them. What are they doing? Show examples of what you've done. So much of what people do, Kevin, is, and it was the same with the school district or anyone that does an RFP, is it's the capabilities presentation. So people are buying the windows. They're buying all the fancy objects they got, yet most of the objects, could be an actuary or whatever it is, are never used.
Yeah.
Their health plan, but they're buying that. I would rather say, show me some examples of what you've done to make a difference for an employer and what they were spending and how did you give their members better health care? And that's the questions they ought to be asked. That's what matters. I mean, the rest of it's, a waste of time. And if they want to do that and keep doing it that way, then stay the way you are, but don't get mad when your rates go up.
Yeah.
When you actively manage a plan, it's work. And I want to be clear, and everybody knows it's work with me. And our clients have said it on stage numerous times. It's not easy. The first 6 months is like driving down your driveway with a speed bump every centimeter. Okay. It's bumpy, but all of them, when you ask them, if you had to do over again, what would you do differently? They all say, we wish we'd done this years ago. So There's a learning curve. It's not easy out of the gate. Nothing worthwhile is easy, is it? So, that's what I would say. So look at the benefit advisor you're talking to and ask them the questions. Show me examples of what you've done and how you've lowered the cost of care for employers. And what have you done to remove barriers of care for their employees?
Okay. Very good. Well, Carl, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Love talking college football, but certainly love, anybody, talking to anybody that makes sure that they put patients first. So if one of my audience members would like to get a hold of you to get some more information about what Mitigate Partners does, how can they?
All right. A couple ways. I prefer the old Alexander Graham Bell way, Kevin. Just give me a holler, as I say, 404-277-7852. Or they can go to mitigatepartners.com and they can see all our advisors that are there. And then, of course, LinkedIn, Carl Schuessler, all that's there, Twitter. I think Mitigate's got an Instagram and a Facebook, but don't ask me. I know how to log in, but I don't know how to do it. But anyway, and I'm sure you'll share all that. But yeah, that's the best ways to call and email carl@mitigatepartners.com.
That sounds great. Carl Schuessler, managing partner of Mitigate Partner, managing director of Mitigate Partners. Principal. Okay. Hey, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Carl. Thanks for joining me on I Don't Care. And hey, audience members, thanks for you for joining me on I Don't Care today. It's been a real pleasure. Look forward to seeing you again next week, and take care.
Yeah. Kevin, thank you so much for the opportunity. I want to leave with 2 words. Well,
all right.
4 words. I'll say first, Merry Christmas, and the last 2 are Go Dogs, and that's DAWGS.
You know, I kind of figured you were going to say Go Dogs in there. So Merry Christmas to you too, Carl. Take care.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for having me.